So I bought the new Azzaro Chrome Azure, this thing right here, and I'm gonna open it up and give you my first impressions of it. So Chrome Azure cost me about 90 bucks for 100 ml. Now I don't have all of the Azzaro Chromes, but out of the ones I have, this makes it at 90 bucks the most expensive Azzaro Chrome I bought. So note-wise, this is supposed to be quite a simple affair with, I believe it's bergamot, lavender and marine notes. So the trend of only using 3 notes continues. This is going to be very interesting because I quite like the chromes that I have. Okay, definitely aromatic fresh, intensely aromatic fresh. Yeah, lavender for sure, and right behind that intense dose of lavender, there's an even more intense dose of like citrusy freshness. I gotta spray this on my hand as well. A bit different on hand for sure, and on hand it's citrus forward first with the lavender right behind it. And even though this is quite an intense dose of citrusy freshness backed up by that sort of intense dose of lavender, I do feel that there's a certain type of smoothness to it. However, with that said, this, at least based on this first impression, is definitely not the smoothest citrusy fresh opening I've smelled. I do, however, quite like it. I'm not sure the opening is... yeah, the opening, at least based on this first impression, based on both paper and hand, is really nice, really fresh, but also really not super unique. This is very uplifting, like a happy vibes kind of refreshing and fresh opening. The more this sort of goes into the mist, or the more it sort of starts to dry down, the smoother it gets. So it was probably just that initial first blast that was sort of a bit sharp. And the more this heads into the mids, the more prominent the lavender becomes. So by the time this sort of heads into the heart of it, I feel the lavender is the most dominant note, but that freshness from the citrus is still around. Yeah, the mids is pretty much dominated by a pretty smooth kind of lavender. I'm trying to compare the lavender in here with other fragrances that have like a heart of lavender to see if I feel that there's a bit of uniqueness to this. And based on this first impression, so who knows, maybe in a week or so this will smell a bit different, but based on this first impression, I'm not sure I'm getting that much sort of a uniqueness from the mids. This is quite interesting because my very first whiffs of this came from the paper, and on paper I sort of felt that the lavender took the lead, but on hand it felt like the citrusy freshness was more dominant in the opening. Now when I'm taking a sniff of this on paper, I'm picking up on the base of it way sort of sooner than on hand. So, and I quite like what I'm getting off paper. So I'm gonna give this like 15 minutes or so and see how it sort of dries down on hand. Finally, this thing starts to dry down on my skin. First off, kudos for having a fragrance that, at least on skin, doesn't rush from the opening to the dry down. However, on paper, if you try this on paper, you might experience the same thing as I did, in that it goes quite quickly from the opening through to dry down. The dry down on my skin is a very soft kind of marine freshness. A super smooth and soft kind of marine freshness with a soft lavender in the background. And I'm thinking that this is a very, at least based on this first impression, a very simple affair, and one that, at least based on this first impression, and I gotta stop saying that, doesn't really blow me away. This smells refreshing and fresh right from the start. You have the citrusy freshness from the opening, and then it definitely goes into a heart that is dominated by lavender. However, the lavender in Chrome Azure doesn't really blow me away. I don't feel there's something really unique about it. It smells good for sure, but do I feel this is something unique, or does it blow me away? No. And the dry down is definitely my favorite part of Chrome Azure. It feels like a super light, super soft, almost airy kind of marine freshness. And I do feel that this is the kind of freshness that most people will enjoy getting a whiff of. Most people will enjoy wearing. This is such an inoffensive kind of freshness. However, yeah, once again, I'm not sure, or I'm sure that I don't feel, based on this first impression, that this has something super unique about it. I definitely like it, but I'm most certainly not blown away. I will wear this more, and I will update you if I feel that it sort of macerates into something that is a bit more unique. So here are my initial thoughts on compliments and mass appeal. This is the kind of fresh scent most people will enjoy getting whiff of. This is a very inoffensive and easy to wear, easy to like kind of fresh scent. And my initial thoughts on performance, I really don't know. I need to wear this more, so I will update you in a future video. But based on this first impression, this does not feel like a super performer. Longevity might end up being something that is sort of a decent, but based on what I'm getting right now, this does not feel like a beast mode kind of fragrance. So here are my initial thoughts on usage. Azzaro Chrome Azure can definitely be used throughout the year, but this is most definitely the kind of fresh scent that is the most suitable for spring and summer. When it comes to occasions, definitely anytime you want a fresh scent on you. And I mean, wear this to work, wear it to the gym, wear it when you are going on a date or when you are going out. However, I do feel that there are more sort of a noticeable or charismatic fresh scents that are more suitable and more sexier if you are going on a date. So my final thoughts on this first impression of Azzaro Chrome Azure. This is, at least according to me, a light kind of fresh scent. It does have quite an intense citrusy fresh and aromatic kind of opening. The heart is very much dominated by the lavender. The lavender does not, at least according to me and at least according to my first impression of it, it does not have something that is sort of a crazy unique about it. And even though I do enjoy the opening, same thing there, I do not feel the opening blows me away. Its dry down, however, is quite nice, but at least on my skin, the dry down is quite a soft kind of marine freshness. Most people will most definitely think you smell good when you spray this one on. So this is a like. I do not think there's anything bad about it, but I do not think there's anything that sort of separates this or makes it even better than what is already out there. So it's basically a like, mixed with a bit of disappointment. Not disappointment because this is something bad, but because I was hoping for this to be something a bit more. So there you go, my first impressions of Azzaro Chrome Azure. Now I would absolutely love to know how you feel about Azzaro Chrome Azure. Do you think this is a fantastic freshie, or do you dislike it? Like this video, I really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe, make sure you check out the videos over there, and I'll see you in the next one.